Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much for listening in the podcast. It is Thursday, April 18, 2024. I'm here to speak about something that happened over the Easter weekend that just passed. As you guys know, I am a fashion designer and I do a lot of fashion shows, been doing a lot of fashion shows for a long time. And one thing I noticed, you guys, is that working with models and being a Christian fashion designer with the intention of going to New York Fashion Week or any fashion week to basically share the gospel with my gifts and talents. What I notice is, because that's always have been one of my biggest concern when I do fashion week, is I get concerned about how will a model that I just meet that day will receive the fact that I am trying to speak about Jesus, share the gospel of Jesus Christ with my fashion line. And I'm always concerned because a lot of the clothing that I make, they have messages, they have Bible verses, they have glory to God written on them, including tops, dresses, and things like that. So I'm always concerned because I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable if they don't want to model something that says that. I'd rather hear that before the fashion show because anything can happen in the runway. Once they're on the runway, you don't know how people can react. So I'm always concerned. But one thing I learned because of that is that as I speak to models, and what I notice is they don't really care. They're basically, well, some of them, right? They basically just want to be part of the show. That's something that I learned that they want to. A lot of the times what I encounter is models that want to very pretty much just be part of the show and also do whatever the designer wants. So they really want to showcase your line the best that they can by bringing your idea to life. So they really listen to what you say. They, a lot of them feel honored and they thank you for taking the time to talk to them. So when I look at other fashion designers shows, I noticed that a lot of these male models are being used to wear women's clothing during fashion week. And I remember, I don't know what year it was, I think it was 2017 or something, and I don't really use Facebook that much, but on my personal Facebook account, I posted pictures, right? I posted pictures because I couldn't believe it how everything is just being accepted and being used as, oh, it's just creative arts, right? It's nothing, doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it does mean something. When you see a fashion designer's line and you see models, male models, specifically male models, wearing dresses, necklaces, carrying a bag for that is made for women, and just want you to ignore all of that, right? And that tells you the big need that we as Christian fashion designers have, and we need more and more in the industry to not just say that you're a Christian, but to actually represent God and stand firm on what you're basically doing. Because obviously, we know there's an agenda happening about pushing this LGBTQ, this making males more feminine. There is an agenda. It's so obvious, guys. It's been going on for so many years. That's why I remember, like I said, I posted photos on Facebook and I made a comment about it, and people got offended. And that's the thing, especially specifically Christian, when you call things out that the devil is doing in your industry, I guess you can say in fashion, they get offended because you're calling it out. It's so much like familiarity really kills somebody's purpose. That's why a lot of the times you have to remove yourself from people that know you for a long time, because they will never see you as how God wants to use you, right? They will never see you like that. And you can try and get frustrated, they will never see you. And then somebody might come along and say, hey, do you see that fashion designer using women's dresses but using male models for his line? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's crazy. I never saw that. But then you call it out and then you get a pushback, right? But anyways, so it's just crazy to encounter things like that. And that was like I said, 2017 or something like that. But then I noticed, a lot of these Christian musicians, that's another thing too. A lot of these Christian musicians that you see, I think it was around 2016, there was a big trend happening about Christian musicians wearing skinny jeans and a tunic. And then they had the hat going, right? Because I look at fashion, I look at clothing because that's kind of like what I do. So I'm always looking at things like that and paying attention. So I look at the skinny jeans with the long tunic, and then the hat, and you will see a lot of male Christians. I'm saying Christian because that's what we have to be so careful about. Not every trend that is presented to us as a consumer is for us, specifically if you're trying to glorify God with everything that you do, right? So you have to pay attention to that. Just because it's trendy doesn't mean that you, as a Christ believing person, should be following the trend, right? We are in the world, where we are not of the world, right? So that's why a lot of the times when I do fashion shows, I don't care. Or like, I have a mission, I have a calling. So people can be like, well, you need to make things more sexy. People have said this to me. You need, set sell. You need to make things more sexy. I'm like, thank you for that unsolicited advice, but I have a calling that God placed on me many years ago, and my purpose is not because anybody can have a fashion show, right? And I learned that too years ago. It's so easy to create sexy clothes. You use less fabric, you use less thinking, but when you are trying to glorify God, there is a besides the design and everything that goes into creating a garment, you have to understand that every garment has to tell the story, and I have to be so careful. It's so easy to create sexy clothes. You spend less money in fabric, obviously, right? So, and you're more liked. You're definitely more well liked and more well received by a lot of people, photographers, models, all of that. But that's not my purpose. I'm not trying to just be liked by anybody. If you looking for that, then you're definitely not standing on the truth about something, and you're not really living for what God called you to be, right? Because when you share the gospel, people are not gonna like you, and it's a lonely road. It's a very lonely road, and then you see people's faces, and then you see the other side of that, because not everything is like bad and not well received. There are people who are there, they get surprised, and then Christians who are there in the industry, and they're so happy to see you coming too, because like the Bible says, the earth is waiting for the manifestation of the sons and daughters of God. We all have talents that God is calling us to use in every industry out there, but we're so timid because we don't want to offend anybody. And not timid personality wise, because I'm very reserved, but when I'm doing fashion week, I know I have to be bold. So it's almost like that gets my personality gets pushed aside, and I have to do what God called me to do, right? What I said timid means that a lot of Christians, it's so easy. The easiest thing you can do in life is to be a Christian inside the church. And people get so confused about that because they're like, oh yeah, I'm on fire for God. Yeah, but you're in the church, and everybody here is your friend, and your dad does this and your mom does the other. Yeah, you're very bold for Christ, but the minute you leave the church, you're the most silent Christian ever. So it's a very easy road if you plan to glorify God just within the church walls, right? That's the easiest route. When you're out there, when people don't expect to see you talking about Jesus, that's when it gets real, right? That's when you're like, okay, that's okay. They don't have to clap. That's fine. I got it. But I'm trying to glorify God. That's fine too. So, but like I said, it's not all the time. Not all the time. It's a negative receive from my experience when I do fashion week, right? A lot of the times it's very positive. A lot of the times there's a lot of connection being made. A lot of the times people, like I said, they're so shocked to see you and using Christian music to do fashion shows that they really like admire that. And of course, you're not trying to like say, oh yeah, I'm so proud of myself. Nothing like that. All I'm saying that there's a lot of people who love the Lord, but they need you to step out and take that step forward and go out there and glorify God. And then you'll see how you can see them come out of their sea and be like, oh man, yeah, I love Jesus too. I just, it's so, I don't say anything because, this is kind of like, you know, they feel embarrassed, right? Not embarrassed, but it's just they don't want it, they want to be liked, and that's fine, right? Anyways, so the reason that I'm making this video about fashion and all of that, because I'm a fashion designer, I can definitely relate and I can definitely speak about it because of my experience. So Stephen Furtick, right? Elevation Church pastor, we know he's connected to TD Jakes, and we know TD Jakes is connected to Pete Diddy, and we know all the friends. You know how they said to Peter, you are part of them too. You are like him because you talk like him. They when people know who you hang around with, because we as human beings, a human nature to pick on what other, if you hang around somebody, you can easily pick them what they do, why they like, and all of that. It's a human nature. Um, it's a human nature. Like they'll see you, like let's say I just painted my nails red, and people can be like if I go out to eat with some of my friends tomorrow, then you'll be like, oh, they'll be like, oh, they look so nice. I'm gonna do mine red too. Like when I get my mine done, it's just our human nature. We pick on what other people like around us do, and we want to do the same. So we all know that group is all related to secret society, all of that. And when you're part of that, they have a mission, right? They have a mission to push an agenda. And a lot of people were talking about what Stephen Furtick wore during his church sermon in Easter. And because I didn't speak about it because I was talking about something else that happened specifically with the Elevation Church for Easter, because they were saying how they're not going to mention the crucifixion, the blood of Christ, and all of that. That was a big scandal that happened, and kind of like took away from what he was wearing. But let me tell you something. Stephen Furtick, people were complaining that during his Eastern service, he was wearing a sweater that was very expensive. Like people only saw the expensive. And I'm like, I don't have a problem for that sweater to be $2,000, right? A lot of the times you're basically paying for the designer name. It's a Givenchy, I think it was, sweater. That's fine. It's it's a Givenchy is a very expensive brand. Everybody knows it's a luxury brand, been around for years. So okay, but he's wearing this feminine looking sweater. He's wearing the skinny jeans with a very feminine looking sweater that you can probably search right now on Instagram. Let's just say, look at some of the fashion bloggers, look at their posts from like winter time or something, because now it's kind of hard to see them like sweaters and things like that. And he can kind of look like one of them, right? Kind of feminine looking. And people were like concerned about the price. I actually saw, when I saw him with that look, I'm gonna post photos so you guys can see it. When I saw him wearing that, I'm like, man, this man, here we go, right? This man, the leader of this church, saying that for Easter, they're not going to use the blood of Christ, the crucifixion, anything like that, because they don't want to offend anybody. And then this man comes out to the sermon. We know that Easter weekend, one of the busiest weekend in any church in the world, because people are looking, and people who normally don't go to church, they'll go on Easter, they'll go for Christmas, right? So influence is everything, right? So when you see somebody who is specifically for that sermon, where you are attracting so many people, and you already are, because days before that your church was trending because of what your social media expert was saying, how they're not going to use the blood of Christ and crucifixion for that to invite people to the church. And you come out wearing that outfit, pushing the agenda. It's almost like, as long as I have everybody, the spotlight on, even bigger with the big brand new audience, perhaps, that probably never seen him before because they're new to the church. They're tuning in because they heard the controversy. They're tuning in because it's Easter. They never went to that church. They were invited guests and all of that. I'm gonna wear this feminine outfit. It's a feminine outfit. I don't care what people want to call it. There are certain things that you shouldn't do. Like I said, when you deal with models, professional models that I had dealt with when I do New York Fashion Week, at the end of the day, guys, they really don't care what they're wearing. They just want to be part of the show. They want to be part of this movement, whatever it is. They show up to New York Fashion Week because they want to participate. So I remember, I mean, when I do fittings before a fashion show, and I let's say I bring extra clothing. I think one show I did, I was supposed to present a 10 look collection, but I always bring extra because I make extra. Not only that, but fitting is everything. So if something is not fitting right, you want to have another option there. So I get I do my fitting, all the models, and every designer's busy doing the fitting before hours before the show. We're doing runway check, all of that. And then I get models that come in late and they're begging and they're waiting like this. They're like, please have something for me. Please have something for me. And I'm like, I think I gave the office already. I don't have anything. And then I'm like, maybe you can wear a sweater. And they get so happy if you find something for them to wear so that you can put them in the show. They don't care. Like, this is why it's so easy for male models to be like, okay, you're gonna wear a dress for this collection. They don't care. People just want to be part of the show, right? They want to walk the runway. They want to have their photo taken. They want to, I mean, they're models. So that's what they do. They don't care. They just want to be part of it. So we have to be so careful about that. Meaning that a pastor has a even bigger responsibility for anybody he influences, and anybody who watches him, and anybody he teaches, right? So for him to I think it was a publicity. It was like, I think, to be honest, everything that Elevation Church did for this Easter weekend. I mean, I don't know in the past because I didn't follow that, but I'm saying it was very publicly planned, and because of that, I know he has to be part. He has to be part of this agenda of pushing this feminine agenda into males, right? Because not only he was trending, it's almost like, let's put the church back in the trending field, right? So the church is trending days before Easter because they decided to remove the crucifixion, all of that from the invites to their Easter program. And then every blogger, like I was talking about, everybody was talking about it. They're trending a couple days before Easter, and then here's it's like, now that I have your attention, look at our pastor, right, wearing a very feminine look. And I was like, wow. And people were like, how can you believe he coming out wearing a $2,000 sweater? You guys are looking at the price? Look at the outfit. It's a pink sweater, a pink tunic sweater, heavy tunic sweater. And he's wearing the skinny jeans, and then he has the chain going. I'm gonna post photos so you guys can see it. This was so specifically planned. It's also too when you see what his wife was wearing, right? This man, God have mercy, all of them. This is the year of exposure. And it's not like we're judging, right? Because a lot of people, when you show them the proof, they're like, oh, you're judging. Look at the proof. Are we being ignorant to the proof? Don't you know that all these people are connected, right? He's connected to TDJs, and TDJs is connected to B. They're all in the friendship. And then Lacrae saying how he also goes to the parties and all of that stuff. They're all connected. They're all connected, and it's so sad because these are the people who you think are gonna be like, these are the last days. Let's stand up for the Lord. And instead of doing that, they're actually walking backwards. They're walking backwards, and they're joining hands with secret societies, creating deals and all of that to push the agenda because influence is everything these days. Influence, I'm saying, is everything because we can be so easily influenced, you guys. We can be so easily influenced. Why do you think people pay for a 3-second ad on the Super Bowl? Why do you think these big corporations pay so much money? because they have so many eyes looking at it. Even if it's like a 10-second spot, they'll pay so much money because they know it takes just one little thing, one little seed to put out there, and it's gonna grow. And they rather do that. So here, I think I posted some photos already, but let me know what you guys think about this. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Have a good day. God bless.